Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a Victoria student is arrested for making a false report of a weapon to another student. Plus, family and law enforcement respond after a chase leaves a man in a coma. And students and parents react to a new policy requiring a QR code be scanned to use the restroom at school.
We're coming to you live from the Calhoun County Fair. We're in Port Lavaca. Lots of kids showing off their projects. You probably noticed that strong north wind that came in this morning, and that is going to give us some very nice weather for the rest of the week. We'll be talking about that coming up in just a few minutes.
And the Victoria East Titans, they play tomorrow night. Yes, on Thursday night football here versus San Antonio Wagner Thunderbirds. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie. Dawn Brubaker is off tonight. A Victoria West High School student is arrested after she allegedly claimed to have a weapon on campus. A Victoria County Sheriff's Office School Resource Officer, or SRO, investigated and found a 14-year-old female student told another student that she had a weapon in her bag. The second student immediately reported this information to an assistant principal. The female student later admitted that she made the statement to the second student. The student was taken to the Victoria Juvenile Detention Center, charged with false alarm or report, which is a state jail felony. No weapon was found. A man is in a coma following a police chase in Port Lavaca. A crash during that chase left 20-year-old Jonathan Smith Jr. hospitalized. Now his family and law enforcement are speaking out about the incident. 25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting has more.
20-year-old Jonathan Smith Jr. was in Texas celebrating his birthday and picking up this year's gift, a motorcycle. Just a few days later, Port Lavaca police tried to pull him over. He refused to stop and led Port Lavaca police on a chase. Smith ended up crashing into another vehicle at an intersection. He's now in a coma at a San Antonio hospital.
I don't know if I get to keep my son or not, but I don't think none of this is right, man.
My gosh, this guy was running from the police on a motorcycle and he just T-boned the car.
Port Lavaca Police Chief Colin Rangnow says Smith Jr. was flagged down for an expired registration. Police say 6 to 8 units, one from another department, joined the chase at a certain point. They also say the chase lasted about 10 to 15 minutes and reached speeds as high as 70 miles per hour. Departments sometimes choose not to pursue motorcycles if they believe there would be a threat to the public, police, or even the suspect. Chief Rangnow says conditions on the road that day contributed to their choice to chase Smith Jr. Police say they're looking into a warrant on Smith Jr.'s record from Greeley, Colorado, related to a probation violation on a weapons charge. Smith Sr. says police may have thought it was him, as he has a charge with the police on his record.
With it being, yes, I've done some wrong in my lifetime, and I get to, but that shouldn't trickle down on my son, you know what I'm saying?
Smith Sr. says the charges against his son in Colorado are being worked out. Police still plan to look at toxicology reports on Smith Jr. and plan to charge him for evading arrest and failure to identify. Smith remains in San Antonio in critical condition. Smith Sr. says his son shed a tear during this interview. It's the first interaction from his son since the incident. Trenton Whiting, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
Now, according to Colorado court records, a felony weapons charge was filed against the younger Smith on August 8th, and he is currently out on bond on that charge. Well, Texas Senator Ted Cruz is in the second week of his 2024 cruise bus tour. The Republican senator made a stop in Wichita Falls, Texas today. Cruz plans to make more than 50 stops on his tour ahead of Election Day in his bid for re-election. Cruz is up against Democratic Representative Colin Allred, a former NFL linebacker and civil rights lawyer. Cruz and Allred held a debate Tuesday, their first and only debate. And that brings us to our viewer poll for today. Who do you feel won the debate last night between Cruz and Allred? Cruz, Allred, or you didn't watch the debate? Almost 20% of you say you didn't watch. Of the other voters, 43% believe that Allred came out on top as the winner of that debate. So if you haven't participated yet, please continue to vote. Go to crossroadstoday.com/vote or scan the QR code there on your screen, and we'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 10. Well, quite a change in our weather today. First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez is live at the Calhoun County Fair with a first look at our weather, and I guess we can call him Cowboy Mac today.
Well, we're coming to you live from the Calhoun County Fair. We're watching the market steer competition to see who gets that blue ribbon. Boy, did our weather fortunes change. I mean, 99 2 days ago, all of a sudden we're in the mid-70s. Those are going to be your high temperatures for the next few days. We'll be talking about what to look for in the 7-day forecast coming up in just a moment.
All right, looks like a lot of fun down there. Well, the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles has denied a request for clemency for a man who this week could be the first person in the U.S. executed for a murder conviction tied to the diagnosis of shaken baby syndrome. The parole board voted today against recommending that Robert Roberson's death sentence be commuted to life in prison or that his execution be delayed. Roberson is scheduled to receive a lethal injection Thursday evening for the 2002 killing of his 2-year-old daughter. Roberson has long proclaimed his innocence. More than 20 years later, experts from across the country point out that shaken baby syndrome theories have been proven false across the country. No autopsy was done on Roberson's daughter before his arrest. Supporters say she died from accidental and natural causes, including pneumonia and septic shock. Doctors didn't know that at the time. Roberson's seemingly indifferent demeanor criticized during the trial. His emotional response later shown to be the result of adult autism. With the execution set to happen on Thursday, a request for clemency could still be granted by Governor Greg Abbott. We now turn to the new efforts today from family members of the Menendez brothers pleading to release the men from prison. Today, more than a dozen family members of Eric and Lyle Menendez gathered to call for the brothers to be resentenced and possibly set free, adding pressure to the Los Angeles district attorney to come to a decision. The brothers were convicted in the 1989 killings of their parents. Prosecutors are reviewing new evidence to determine whether they should be serving life sentences. The brothers admitted to the crime, but at the time said they feared their parents were about to kill them to prevent the disclosure of the father's long-term sexual molestation of Eric Menendez. They're currently incarcerated without the possibility of parole. Well, a California high school is requiring students to scan a QR code in order to use the restroom. Students and parents are speaking out about this new policy. Amanda Palacios has the details.
This is how you scan it.
Students at Edison High School in Huntington Beach are voicing frustration over a new bathroom policy that was introduced at the beginning of the school year.
I hate it. I want to go to the bathroom. I want ample time to do everything I need to do.
Under the new system, students are required to use an app on their phone to scan a QR code before leaving class. They can choose from a list of options such as going to the nurse's office, the wellness center, or the bathroom. If they select the bathroom option, the app starts a timer and gives them a small amount of time to complete their break.
It gives you a 7-minute timer, and once that timer ends, it can affect your attendance and other things. And it happens every time you go to the restroom. And this is because of last year, people would use the restroom and not come back to class.
Classes are 2 hours, and I don't think it's appropriate to be scanning a QR code to relieve yourself.
Students say the QR code can only be scanned twice in a day. But with bathrooms crowded during lunch and nutrition breaks, many students feel the restrictions are unfair.
I would say there's about 10, 15 girls in there at once, and then not including the ones that are in the bathroom stall. So it's hard getting into the bathroom.
Frustration over the policy has led to students creating a petition on change.org, which has already gathered over 450 signatures.
I think it's a little against our constitutional rights. It kind of allows us not to go to the bathroom when we should.
However, some parents support the policy, seeing it as a way to enhance safety and prevent students from misusing their time outside of class.
Kids nowadays, they kind of, leave for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I think it's smart. You got to keep track of them.
Despite the students' concerns, there has been no official response from the school's administrators. We also reached out to Edison High School and the district, but have not heard back yet. Reporting in Huntington Beach, Amanda Palacios, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Nearly half of all public high school students in Texas who earn college credits before they graduate are Hispanic, a new study finds. You can read the full Texas Tribune article by visiting our website, crossroadstoday.com. And here are some of the top headlines that you can read this week in the Cuero Record. The DeWitt County Sheriff helps with Hurricane Helene recovery, and the GOP women of Yoakum host the Taste of Freedom rally. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. And remember to subscribe to our Crossroads Today YouTube channel, hit the like button and click the notification bell so you'll receive alerts when new videos are uploaded. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, when U.S. officials are expecting Israel's counterattack on Iran to happen. Plus, a new audit from the FAA will take a close look at 45 of the nation's busiest airports after multiple close calls on the runway in recent years. Welcome back. American officials expect Israel's retaliation against Iran to happen before the U.S. presidential election on November 5th. It's in response to a missile attack earlier this month. Sources say the timeline and parameters of the retaliation have nothing to do with the election, but still they say that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appears to be sensitive to any potential political ramifications Israel's actions could have in the U.S. The growing conflict in the Middle East is a persistent issue in the American election. The FAA is now looking into the risk of close calls of passenger jets on the runways at some of the nation's busiest airports, citing multiple incidents in the last few years. The runway incursion audit will identify potential gaps in procedures, equipment, and processes, and offer recommendations to improve safety. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
An Alaska Airlines flight abruptly aborting takeoff at Nashville's airport last month after a Southwest jet crossed in front.
Alaska 369, cancel takeoff clearance.
The pilot slamming on the brakes at about 120 miles per hour to avoid hitting the plane crossing the same runway.
This felt like getting hit in a car accident or a freight train.
This incident, one reason why the FAA is opening an audit into runway incursions, the federal agency examining 45 of the nation's busiest airports. Just days before the Nashville incident, a Delta plane with more than 200 passengers clipped the back of a smaller regional jet, knocking its tail off of the taxiway at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta.
He just hit something on the taxiway. Could you tell us what it was?
Back in July, 2 regional jets caught on police dash camera video near Syracuse, appearing to come dangerously close to colliding midair. Though the FAA administrator said last month the number of serious runway incursion incidents had fallen by over 50% this year. This new audit will include a risk profile for each airport, along with identifying potential gaps in procedures, equipment, and processes, and recommendations to improve safety.
The agency cited a shortage of air traffic controllers as a factor. The FAA expects to finish the audit early next year. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Here are some of the top headlines for this week in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Calhoun County ISD Police Department hires a new officer, and Calhoun County kicks off Fair Week with an annual parade. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com.
We're coming to you live from the Calhoun County Fair. Right about now, we're doing the steer competition, but there's all kinds of stuff to do. Funnel cakes, carnival rides, it's all happening here in Port Lavaca. We'll be talking about your 7-day forecast coming up in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We're out here in the Ag Barn where we're doing the competition on the market steers. Look at this. I want you to see this. See these young people with their projects? They've been working for the better part of a year showing breeding, feeding, grooming, and getting their projects ready. And right now they're going to go into competition. One of these will move on to the championship round. And after that, who knows if they sell their cattle off at market price or at a royal champion price, they may make a very good salary to actually apply toward their college. So that's the whole idea behind 4-H and the FFA. As you can see, we're looking at the market steer competition. Let's do a little bit of weather. You probably noticed the north wind that blew in this morning, just as expected. Came in with a nice north wind blowing at about 25 miles an hour, and it brought us the cooler weather. A couple days ago, we were at 99 degrees, and now we're looking at mid-70s, probably warmed up with a little bit of sun. But after that, we're looking for clearing skies tonight and very cool weather. As a matter of fact, I don't know, you might need a blanket tonight because temperatures should be getting down to the mid-50s. There you can see the winds blowing out of the north. They'll continue like that for another day and a half because of that strong high pressure that is up over the Ohio Valley. That actually brought 2/3 of the country a nice dose of fall weather. Yes, some people are having fall, and finally here it feels like fall. We are looking at that north wind to be blowing strong for another day or two. Then it settles down as we get to the weekend. Down in the tropics, we are looking at two systems, neither of which are a problem as far as we're concerned. The first one is moving across Central America and probably re-emerging out into the Pacific Ocean. The second system out in the Atlantic will probably develop into a tropical storm. However, as it gets closer to the Bahamas, like about Saturday or Sunday, that cold front is just going to destroy that tropical system and blow it to parts apart. So it's very interesting how that's going to wash. We'll certainly watch it as we get closer to the weekend. For us, our temperatures are going to be very, very nice next few days. In fact, your forecast for those of you in Port Lavaca, sunny skies and a high of only 77 degrees, 75, not bad at all. For those of you in Cuero, a little bit more sunshine. You're going to get up to maybe 80 degrees tomorrow, so it's going to be delightful. And you know what? You can say goodbye to summer. Absolutely. We are looking at mild fall weather right on through the next 7 days. Now, daytimes may start warming up as we get to the weekend, but night times are going to be very comfortable, getting down into the low 50s and a couple of 60s as well. Of course, we are again coming to you live from the Calhoun County Fair. We're over here on Highway 35 on the south side of town. If you drive down, you can't miss it. They got the carnival rides, the Ferris wheel, and yes, Shawna, I'm going to pick you up a funnel cake, and I will take it back to the studio for this evening. That's it live from the Calhoun County Fair. Back to you, Shawna.
All right, thanks a lot, Mac. We will definitely appreciate it if we get some of that fair food back here in the studio. But we're going to stay down in Calhoun County for sports. Here's Max Williams.
I hope Mac can bring me a funnel cake too from the Calhoun County Fair. Hopefully he can, just for all of us, right, Shauna? But
yeah, we'll
like you said, right, Calhoun Sand Crabs volleyball team, they also, right, yesterday they honored 2 players there in the volleyball court and huge accomplishments. I'll tell you more in sports. All right, Crossroads, we're only 2 days away from another exciting week of high school football. One of our area games will actually play tomorrow night, actually in San Antonio, between Victoria East Titans and the San Antonio Wagner Thunderbirds. And this game, like I mentioned, will be in San Antonio. Kickoff will be at 7 p.m. And for East, they're trying to build some momentum. They got a big-time win back in San Antonio last week versus San Antonio MacArthur. They won 36-0. And Kason Coley, he's getting better week by week, coming back from that injury earlier in the season. They're trying to make a late run to the playoffs here for East, but for Wagner High School, they are 2-3 this season. They have wins over San Marcos and MacArthur as well, so a common opponent for both teams. But they did lose badly last week to Smithson Valley. That was the score of 30-8. So the Thunderbirds, they're hoping to get back on the winning track. They're led by quarterback Charles Mundy, and they're hoping to get, a little bit of confidence. One of these teams needs to get a big-time win if they want to have their playoff hopes alive. Now, how about Victoria West? They also play back at home Memorial Stadium this Friday night versus the Bernie Greyhounds. And West, they're trying to rebound because they got blown out last week versus Alamo Heights 56-28. And Victoria West Quarterback Dominic Martinez, he's hoping to kind of get back on his groove again after having one of his worst performances last week. Not good against Alamo Heights. So see if he can get back on the same page with wide receiver Tristan Bernard. They're one of the two top connections here in our area. But for the Bernie Greyhounds, they are 3-3 this season. They're 1-1 in district play. The Greyhounds, they're coming off a victory last week versus San Antonio Harlandale. And the Greyhounds, they're led by quarterback number 9, Jackson Bass. And they're hoping to get a massive win, maybe an upset for sure this Friday night over West. This leads me here to our viewer poll where I asked today, which game are you most likely to look forward to this week? And here are the 4 options. You got Cuero versus Sinton, Yoakum versus Columbus, Beeville versus Calhoun, and Bloomington versus Weimar. And this one looks like it's going to be in that category. Columbus versus Yoakum right now is the one that people are choosing in the moment. You got all different types of options right now. We'll see what it turns out to at 10 o'clock. Now, how about some volleyball action there last night? The Calhoun Sand Crabs, they welcomed in London last night, and they dropped the first set of the game, but they did respond in the second one, again, taking it over the London Pirates, and they'd win the next 2 sets because London, they came back, had a tough rally. They tried to keep it a post, but it did not matter at the end of the day. Calhoun took the time. They got the win, and then they took the time to recognize some seniors in Neva Rangel and Kendall Vargas, who, again, exchanged reach lefty milestones.
It means a lot to me just knowing I accomplished that and I can even accomplish more throughout this whole season.
It means a lot because I work really hard on the court and I've been on the team for 4 years. Bujek's probably one of my best coaches I've ever had. She coaches us when we're low and when we're high, and she's been a really big impact on my volleyball career.
Sand Crabs volleyball team, they're trying to regroup here this upcoming Friday where they play the Jones Trojans. And then finally tonight, the NFL approved a deal on Tuesday after a long-running saga for Brady's bid to enter ownership for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's going to hold a 10% with the Raiders. Again, personally, he was holding a 5% stake, and this marks Brady's second investment in Las Vegas-based professional sports franchise. In May, he acquired a minority ownership share of the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces, and Brady retired from the NFL following the 2022 season. He's currently working on Fox's top NFL broadcasting team there with Kevin Burkhardt as well, and Brady signed a 10-year deal with the network, again, to 2032. But this is, again, first season announcing games on Fox. He's got a minority ownership now with the Raiders and Las Vegas Aces. Shawna, Tom Brady is just basically doing it all.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot to have on your plate there. Well, we're back in a moment. A 100-year-old time capsule is opened. We'll take a look at what was inside. pieces of history uncovered after a century in hiding. The contents of a time capsule entombed in the side of the Liberty Memorial Tower in Kansas City, Missouri were unveiled today. That is the National World War I Museum and Memorial. There were 15 objects put inside that included film, newspapers, a copy of the U.S. Constitution, a Bible, and a copy of the American Declaration of War from April 1917. Also included was a letter from then President Calvin Coolidge, a message from General John Pershing, who was the commander of the American Expeditionary Force during World War I, along with some seeds and a printing plate from the Kansas City Star.
You know, Shawna, just being from college from Kansas City, I have seen that museum and memorial. It is really cool. It's a great event. If you ever want to go there, you got to check it out for sure.
Yeah, some interesting
artifacts
to put on display
exactly.
too. So. All right, well, we're going to throw it out to Mac real quick. No, we're not going to throw it out to Mac real quick. We're going to take a last look at your weather, but looks like those cool temperatures are going to stick around.
Yeah.
Mac's having fun. I think maybe he's getting our funnel cake for us right now.
There we go. That's probably what's happening.
So there's a look at your forecast. So thanks for joining us for 25 News Now at 6. Be sure to join us back here tonight at 10.